Greetings friends. This is the second part of the video series on the history of ISRO. In the last video, we discussed about the great soul, Vikram Sarabhai, a visionary scientist who pioneered space exploration in India. He founded ISRO and guided a group of talented scientists into the field, and his unexpected death in 1971 shocked the country. The scientists were concerned about the future of ISRO and themselves. Dr. Sarabhai supported his engineers with heart and stepped forward to help them with any project-related issues. Let us see an incident as proof. In 1970, Sarabhai found that satellite telemetry equipment was available at very low prices in Australia. He arranged two of his fellow engineers to buy it. It was in pre-liberalization era, so procuring the US dollars was not as simple as today. To purchase the equipment, they needed a draft from the Reserve Bank's Foreign Exchange Division. The two scientists approached a Reserve Bank official, described their need and asked him to hasten the process. But the official, instead of helping them, clarified the requirements and conditions and told them to come back later. The engineers called Sarabhai and explained everything that had happened at the bank. Sarabhai asked them to wait outside. After 10 minutes, the official came and kindly took the scientists inside. Within 10 minutes, the officer prepared the draft and gave it to them. The engineers didn't realize what had occurred till much later. Sarabhai had contacted Y.V. Chavan, India's then finance minister, who instantly called the RBI officer and instructed him to do the needful. Scientists were worried that in Sarabhai's absence, the government would not give space exploration the attention it deserved. To everyone's amazement, the then Prime Minister, Shrimati Indira Gandhi, picked Satish Dhawan to succeed Vikram Sarabhai. At that time, he was a professor at the California Institute of Technology and could only take over as head of ISRO only a few months later. Thus, for 10 months, M.G.K. Menon served as the chairman of ISRO. Satish Dhawan was officially appointed as the chairman of ISRO in September 1972. Although India's space program owes its birth to the vision of Vikram Sarabhai, it was Satish Dhawan who lent substance to this vision and built ISRO into the world-class body that it is today. There is a string of incidents that show that Dhawan is a leader who is completely in sync with ISRO. Dr. Abdul Kalam himself had described one of them. Following the success of early sounding rockets, ISRO aimed to create a satellite launch vehicle capable of launching small satellites in the 1970s. The first SLV rocket was launched on August 10, 1979, under the guidance of Project Director Kalam. Kalam and his team were aware that the constructed rocket had a slight propellant leak, but they believed it would not be a problem. However, this fault resulted in a failure. The vehicle crashed into Bay of Bengal after launch, never reaching the orbit. Kalam, who was the mission director at that time, had to confront the media and explain himself. However, Satish Dhawan, the chairman, spoke to the media. Dear friends, we have failed today. I want to support my technologists, my scientists, my staff, so that next year they succeed. When the ISRO chairman accepted the responsibility for his failure, Kalam was taken aback. However, Dhawan invited Dr. Kalam to speak to the media once the SLV was successfully launched the following year. Satish Dhawan regarded his teammates' failure as his own failure while giving them credit for their success. During the period of Satish Dhawan, rocket parts were developed in partnership with private firms such as Larsen & Toubro. This type of collaboration has benefited these businesses and, as a result, the whole public. Rocket technology has influenced everything from enhanced infant formula to radial tires. ISRO began at Thumba, but as Sriharikota, Ahmedabad and Bangalore were added, some projects had to be shifted to streamline operations. However, in the late 1970s, the initial misunderstanding between ISRO and the labor unions at Turles in Thumba had worsened. Their greatest concern was that the Thumba center would be relocated. As a result, no equipment was permitted to be removed from the center. For instance, they halted the movement of a boring machine that was not required for the SLV project in Thumba to Sriharikota. As a result, their project was nearly a year behind schedule. Furthermore, some union ministers attacked scientists, including Brahma Prakash, the VSSC's former director. In the end, former Prime Minister Morarji Desai had to get involved. When he arrived in Thiruvananthapuram, he spoke to union members and emphasized the importance of space exploration in the country's future, as well as ISRO's latest technology and the environment in which its experiments were conducted. He also issued an ultimatum, saying that if the disputes continued, future projects would be moved to other states. Though ISRO had to go through several bitter experiences, they could eventually build a reliable and versatile workhorse, which is the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. Let's learn more about PSLV in the next video.